Buddha and the Rich Man, a Tale of True Wealth. Chapter 1. The Richest Man in Savatthi. In the great city of Savatthi, there lived a man named Vishnu Dutta, known far and wide as the richest merchant in the land. His wealth was beyond imagination. Gold, silver, silk, spices, and vast lands filled his coffers. He had grand palaces, the finest horses, and servants who attended to his every need. Despite his riches, Vishnu Dutta was deeply troubled. Every night he tossed and turned, fearing thieves, envying greater kings, and worrying over his fortune. He longed for peace, but he knew not where to find it. One day, news spread through Savatthi that the great Buddha had arrived with his disciples. People rushed to hear his wisdom, speaking of enlightenment and inner peace. Curious but skeptical, Vishnu Dutta decided to meet him. Chapter 2. The Encounter with Buddha. Vishnu Dutta approached the monastery where Buddha and his monks were staying. As he entered, he saw a group of villagers listening intently to Buddha's words, their faces serene and content. When the Buddha noticed Vishnu Dutta, he smiled gently. "Welcome, noble merchant. What brings you here?" Vishnu Dutta bowed and said, "Gautama, I have everything, gold, palaces, power, yet I find no peace. My mind is restless, always fearing loss. Why is this so?" Buddha observed him with calm eyes. "Tell me, Vishnu Dutta, what do you believe brings true happiness?" The rich man thought for a moment. "Wealth and success bring happiness, but they also bring worry. I fear losing them, so I cannot truly enjoy them." Buddha nodded. "You hold tightly to your wealth, believing it belongs to you. But tell me, can you take your gold with you when you leave this world?" Vishnu Dutta lowered his gaze. "No, I cannot." "Then is it truly yours?" Buddha asked. The merchant was silent. Chapter 3. The Parable of the Four Visitors. Seeing Vishnu Dutta's contemplation, Buddha told a story. Once there was a wealthy man who had 4 visitors arrive at his home. The first visitor was a handsome man dressed in fine robes. The second was a trusted friend. The third was a loyal servant. The fourth was a wise sage. The wealthy man asked each visitor how far they would accompany him on a journey. The first visitor, his wealth, said, "I will stay at home. I cannot follow you." The second visitor, his family and friends, said, "We will walk with you to the city gates, but no further." The third visitor, his servant, said, "I will follow you to the end of the road, but I cannot go beyond." But the fourth visitor, the sage, said, "I will follow you wherever you go, even beyond this life." Do you know who the fourth visitor was, Vishnu Dutta? The rich man shook his head. Buddha smiled. It was his good deeds, his virtues. Wealth, family, and servants will leave us one day. Only our actions, our kindness, our wisdom, and our compassion will follow us beyond this life. Chapter 4. The Lesson of the Beggar. Vishnu Dutta pondered these words as he walked back to his mansion. That evening, while he was dining on a feast of rich foods, he heard a knock at the door. A poor beggar stood outside, his clothes tattered, his body frail. "Kind sir, I have not eaten for days. Could you spare a little food?" Vishnu Dutta's first instinct was to send him away, fearing that helping one beggar would invite many more. But then he remembered Buddha's words. Hesitantly, he ordered his servants to bring food. As the beggar ate, his eyes filled with gratitude. "May you be blessed, noble one. Your kindness will be remembered." For the first time in years, Vishnu Dutta felt something stir in his heart, a warmth, a joy different from the satisfaction of making profits. Chapter 5. The Test of Generosity. The next day, Vishnu Dutta returned to Buddha. "Master, I helped a beggar last night, and for a brief moment I felt a strange peace. Why is this?" Buddha smiled. "Because true wealth is not measured by what you have, but by what you give. The joy of generosity is greater than the fear of loss." Vishnu Dutta bowed his head. "But how can I practice this fully? I have lived my whole life protecting my fortune. Buddha picked up a handful of sand and held it tightly. See this sand in my hand? When I grip it tightly, most of it slips away. But when I open my palm, it rests peacefully. Wealth is the same. If you hold on to it with fear, you will lose it. But if you use it wisely, it will serve both you and others. Chapter 6. The Rich Man's Transformation. From that day on, Vishnu Dutta changed. He used his wealth to build shelters for the poor, support monasteries, and help farmers during droughts. He no longer hoarded his riches, but used them to ease suffering. As he practiced generosity, his worries lessened. He no longer feared loss, for he had discovered a wealth that could never be stolen, inner peace. One evening, as he sat before Buddha, he said, "Master, I understand now. True wealth is not in gold, but in a heart free from greed and fear." Buddha nodded. "Indeed, Vishnu Dutta. A truly rich man is one whose heart is full, not whose coffers are full." And so, Vishnu Dutta, once the wealthiest but most troubled man in Savatthi, became known as the most generous and content. His riches remained, but his heart was lighter, for he had learned the greatest lesson of all, that true wealth lies in kindness, wisdom, and inner peace.